Welcome to Tech Transformation with CGT and RIS News, where we explore the innovative tech strategies and trends in retail and consumer goods. I'm Lisa Johnston, Senior Editor at CGT. In this episode, I'm talking with Nadia Boujarwah, CEO of D&Co, about how they're using data, analytics, and technology to be a pioneer in inclusive retail. Nadia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
D&Co is a digital retailer. And what's really interesting is that you not only pride yourself on being forward-thinking with technology, but you actually describe the company as being equal parts tech and fashion. So I was wondering if you could start us out by explaining that. I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, of course, but also kind of digging into why the company builds itself that way.
So DIA is first and foremost a company that's dedicated to inclusivity. We came to this market because I've been a shopper in this space for a long time. And, at the heart of who we are as a team is really a group of people with a very deep understanding for a very unique problem in the consumer space globally, but certainly in the US. So in the US, about 7 in 10 women wear the sizes that the industry classifies as plus sizes or extended sizes or inclusive sizes. There are many different names for these days. And yet the vast minority of retailers actually cater to these sizes. So we estimate that about 20% of retail transactions happen in these sizes, which is really just an extraordinary comparison to 70% of the population actually wearing these sizes. And at the heart of who we are at DIA is really a group of people who want to understand how 70% of women can be transacting only 20% of the retail in the industry, and how do we get that to parity? It's a very personal mission for a lot of us. I've been a shopper in this category almost all my life. But it's also honestly just one of the more fascinating intellectual puzzles I think we've all ever worked on. And certainly kind of keeps us coming back to the problem solving table over and over. I think the approach that we've taken is really understanding what's possible from a technology perspective in terms of personalization, certainly in machine learning and, other things that we bring to the table on that front, but also just understanding it from a very human level and the fashion side of it to really bring those things together. So we started as a styling curation business, really deeply oriented in personalization. And that flagship product continues to guide the level of personalization that we expect to have across all of our offerings. Today, the fastest growing part of DIA is a marketplace. So from a customer perspective, it is a more traditional e-commerce experience. And from a brand perspective, it's really giving all the brands that have, become more interested in inclusivity and launched inclusive offerings in the last several years, an opportunity to efficiently access this customer base and serve this community. Which at the end of the day is probably the greatest thing that we've built over the course of the last 7 years, is an extraordinary community of women. I think that that's really the journey that we're iterating on today.
So I'm glad you brought up personalization and artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So you're serving a real consumer need, and you're doing it through 2 different business models. Can you just talk a little bit about, you've briefly mentioned it already, but could you just talk a little bit about those 2 models and how they operate within the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So they operate very symbiotically. We always put ourselves first and foremost in the shoes of the customer. And from a customer's perspective, shopping trips can begin for multiple reasons, right? Probably the most common use case for a shopping trip is you have an event that you need to go to, you've, worn out your jeans, you need a new pair of, running pants, whatever it ends up being. It's really kind of an intent-based shopping experience. And we find that, that's probably 80% of the use case for shopping for most women. And that is really best served in a guided but self-directed experience, right? Where browsing is important, being able to have a lot of variety and choices is very important, being able to compare products is very important. And that's really the use case that our marketplace solves for our customers. I think there's a much higher touch experience that's possible on the styling side of our business, where really the use case is something different. It's not a matter of looking for a specific product. It is a little bit more open-ended in its objectives. And it's often about really surprise and delight, and wanting to be, kind of pushed outside of your comfort zone, wanting to explore things that you may not choose yourself in a self-directed experience. We find these to be things like seasonal refreshes, starting a new job, postpartum moms. There's all kinds of moments in your life when you really feel like you need, a little bit of a refresh. And our styling service really is that more hands-on, clienteling based experience where we can work very closely with customers to understand what their objectives are and make recommendations. So that's purely a recommendation-driven business. The customer doesn't choose any of those products. It really is remarkable when you make a recommendation to a customer, how different what they end up purchasing may be from what they expect at the outset, which is really, kind of the really special
it's the goal,
magic
right?
of that part of the business. But these are, as female shoppers, at least, we come in and out of these use cases frequently. And so for us, being able to serve her holistically means having the absolute best offering across both.
You mentioned exploring, and it kind of touches on my next question. I want to talk about what you see as the future of sizing and try-on technology. I don't know if you saw Amazon. They just made some headlines recently. They introduced new try-on technology for shoes, which was interesting. But for your company and for your consumers, where do you see the future?
Yeah. So, try on and fit is probably more important in a plus size fashion context than it is in almost any other consumer business. Fit is non-trivial to get right in our category. And it is the absolute top most important thing for our consumers. So we spend a lot of time on fit. And it's been really, really exciting to see the amount of innovation that's happened on the technology side of fit, and all the different approaches that, technology companies are taking, retailers are taking. I think from our perspective, because fit is so important, we have always committed to and taken really a 360-degree view of what fit actually means for our customer. And that means everything from the consistency of the construction of a garment, which, if it's one of our brands, we produce a lot of what we sell. We take very seriously. We also work very closely with our partners to ensure that there's consistency across the garments that they're producing, the amount of information that we have on our customers, and therefore our ability to recommend the right sizes for her. And then probably, in some ways, like the most analog of all, one thing that's a huge part of our fit technology is that we give her a fitting room experience with every purchase. And even in the styling business,
explain that?
Yeah, I'll explain. Yeah. In the styling business, everything is home try on because we're sending her things that she hasn't selected. And so she always has the opportunity to try them on before she has to decide what she wants to purchase. We translated that into our marketplace through a try before you buy feature on our site where customers can purchase up to 7 items. Or I guess not purchase, but can send home up to 7 items for try on prior to having to pay for them, and really only decide what to keep once she has tried things on. Really in some ways, if you think about it, the most advanced fit technology in the world is a fitting room because it always gets it right. And part of what we've tried to do is actually say, hey, if that's an important part of her getting it right and fit is so important for our customers, how do we actually bring that part of shopping in stores more seamlessly into our online experience? And for us, try before you buy makes a lot of economic sense. We've gotten very, very good at return logistics and being able to process returns in a cost-effective way, in a way that ultimately we believe leads to the best customer experience. But it really is the orchestration of all of those features that leads to the best shopping experience for her from a fit perspective. And I think it's very hard for any single technology to actually achieve the perfect fit consistently, because there are so many dimensions of fit. And at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I can tell you for certain, being in this market for, the better part of a decade, fit is very much subjective, right? There's objective components of fit, but really fit is subjective. And being able to really give the customer confidence around both the subjective and the objective dimensions of fit in any purchase, in our experience, takes many features working, in concert together, not any one, silver bullet.
It's more like an orchestration.
It really is. And, and then that's not true for all categories. I think in other categories it may, there may be easier ways of doing it, but certainly in our category, it's our top priority.
I love your point about the fitting room being the most advanced technology. It makes you wonder why so many retailers get the lighting so wrong in their fitting rooms.
Oh my God. It's such a missed opportunity.